Hi, this is Sean Weston from foodbev.com. I'm here with my colleagues Claire and Geoff, and that's Claire Rowan, Claire Phoenix and Geoff Platt, and we're at Vitafoods Europe 2012. We're on day 2, and so what's the most interesting thing we've seen?
Most interesting? I'm getting quite overwhelmed with so many interesting things, trying to remember them all, particularly on the contract manufacturing stands actually, and there's a taste section over in the corner, and you can see what the contract manufacturers are coming up with as concepts, and they really are fascinating, effervescent delivery not Capri-Sun, but these, what are these called? Doi packs, pouches of vitamin gels.
Is this the tasting bar that's a part of the finished products expo? Yeah, have you been there as well?
I have. My favourite items were the hydration drink for the skin and the Pearl skin drink, again, both from Laboratoire PYC. Yeah, and I like the fruit and choc energy bar as well. That was really nice.
I think I tasted that myself. So they give you a card, don't they, where you can actually grade them?
I did vote, yeah.
Did you vote?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Are you asked to vote for the one that was least palatable? I can't remember.
Oh, no, I can't remember.
I don't think they'd ask a negative like that, would they? But
no,
I've got a couple in mind. But what about you, Geoff? Have you been to the tasting bar?
Yeah, I have. I will have to confess I was only interested in one product, which was a ready-to-drink milkshake from Friesland Campina Creamy Creations. So I went straight from there to the stand and had a
I saw that actually. Is that the probiotic one? Is that probiotic?
Creamy Creations is a part of the Friesland Campina Dairy Company, but they work business to business, so they're not consumer facing. And they do develop a lot of drinks and yogurts and things directly with another manufacturer. And apparently they're very big in alcoholic drinks that use cream. And the guy said, whereas Baileys are the biggest consumer-facing organisation, we're the biggest business-to-business. And it's just, for me, it's an interesting way of how dairy or parts of milk are being used in so many different industries.
Well, I remember Thornton's, the confectioner, haven't been doing so well business-wise in the last couple of years, but one of their saving graces was the Thornton's chocolate liqueur. And I dare say it was down to the sort of the ingredients, the creaminess, and doing something a little bit different.
That's right, yes, yeah. And I mean, on using sort of dairy products, there's a stand, Vitomega. There's a Dutch company, and they market colostrum, which is produced when calves are born and other animals are born. And I've heard people say that they felt this was going to be a growing sector. And this company sells the colostrum all over the world. It's sold for sports nutrition, children's nutrition. It goes into toothpaste. It provides enzymes for those toothpastes that contain enzymes, health and beauty. And it's also used in animal feeds. So it starts off with the animal and goes all the way around and goes back to
the full circle. So you're actually finding an awful lot of innovation here. Is that the general consensus that Vitafoods is really good this year and that there's a lot of new things being shown?
There's certainly a fair amount, some of the things I've seen before. But for me, I enjoyed the conference this morning about finding funding for small to medium-sized companies and how to share costs for trials across companies. That was part of the Vitafoods conference. That was great.
Okay, is that the only conference you've been to while you've been here?
No, I went to another one after that on satiety, and I've just interviewed Professor Jason Holroyd about actually it's Professor Halford. Yeah, let's get that right. He's from Liverpool University, and he was talking about this consortium of companies and universities who are doing satiety research together. So sort of 7 different companies all working together.
Yeah, I've noticed myself that there's an awful lot of smaller companies. All the big boys are here, but there's an awful lot of smaller companies showing off new things. Have you seen that, Claire?
I've seen a few small companies, and I think what is interesting is they're trying to fulfil on their on the claims that are now being allowed. So they're formulating product concepts that will allow manufacturers to comply with claims. So they're really out there to support, as you say, together, Claire, sort of coming up with solutions that allow manufacturers to claim. And I think that's very interesting. Well,
Frutron, we're doing something interesting with vitamin K2, which is for bone and heart health, and they've done a tea and a sports drink. But yeah, I think that's fascinating. Vitamin K is definitely one of the hot topics here, and vitamin D as well.
Do you know, that's the third time I've heard that, actually, the vitamin K thing. Why is that? Why has it become so popular all of a sudden? Or is it all of a sudden and it's just gone under the radar?
I think it's the first time they've been able to use it in soluble format, so that it can be used in drinks more easily, and it's the health benefits for bone. And people are looking at joint and bone health. They're quite interested in that today.
Yeah, I think there's quite a few of these vitamins and ingredients, really. And I think you're right, it's the science behind being able to use them when you mix it in a food or a beverage, because some of them don't work very well, they create problems.
Yes,
and it's the science of
the
actually...
bioavailability,
yeah,
is it? Apparently if you use cheap ones, they don't work in the body so well,
no.
Whereas there is some sort of problem here that people have got to use the higher quality ones, and there needs to be differentiation on pack, actually.
This is the very fine line between pharmaceutical and the food and beverage sector, isn't it? Is that I've heard myself that people say, well, why are you going to see pharmaceutical people? Because my answer is because eventually we may see it in food or beverage, and it's best to get in there early. Would you have your own opinion on that?
I think the pharma side helps the nutrition side because they have experience in doing clinical trials. They know what's necessary to support the evidence and ensure that the product, the active ingredient, remains active over time through shelf life. And I've just been on the Stepan lipid stand, where Stepan has brought in its expertise from America and an expertise in functionality of sort of not quite chemistry of lipids, and lipid nutrition brings its nutrition expertise, and it is bringing those technologies to nutrition and food that is really making the difference in what's possible, really, in healthy products and how they perform.
I've heard quite a lot about olive oil and olive leaf here as well. I thought that was interesting, because consumers will trust that because they know it, but there's so many benefits within it that we didn't realise, and now they can actually be used again in beverages thanks to microencapsulation.
And I've also heard the comment that a lot of consumers would prefer to have some of these pharma type ingredients in their food rather than sort of be taking medicines and admitting to taking medicines. So if that's the way to deliver it, then this is an opportunity for food and beverages and dairy.
You have to say what you said about your vegetables, that you don't like to eat a lot of veg, but...
I'm the same, you know, I juice everything because I can't eat it off the plate, so I juice it and I mix it with something more palatable to me, and it works, and I guess that's what these guys are trying to do here.
You can drink it quickly, it's easy. Yeah. And another interesting thing, a friend who has young children, she was looking at these gummy bears that have something in them that makes the child relax and help them to sleep. It's lactium, which helps the child to sleep, which I thought was interesting.
So there's no sugar in that at all?
None at all.
Going to your talking about your fruits and your vegetables and how you eat them or how you use them and getting the benefits from them, I saw an interesting flavour component on the chili burner. Did you see that? So it's lovely. I mean, it also actually reflects the natural trend, but this company have actually managed to take out the that bitterness of chili that we all find a bit scary in a curry, and so it doesn't burn your mouth, but it helps burn the extra calories. So it's a double benefit. They're really doing exciting things with natural ingredients.
Red capsaicin as well. That's happening here too. Yeah.
I must say I prefer my pasta with a little bit of bite to it.
We managed that the other night.
We did.
But there was a comment that for the last few years there's been a lot of focus on food minus. In other words, taking stuff out of food, reducing the sodium, reducing the salt, reducing the fat, reducing the sugar. And this person perceived that consumers were now actually coming round to wanting food plus. So they want good stuff, good ingredients to be added to their food rather than constantly taking stuff out. So it's an interest there.
Often removing the flavour and the taste itself.
Yeah. Not always.
Not always. No.
There's adding value. Added
value, definitely.
Adding value, and making sure that the flavour and the texture is spot on as well.
Taste is critical. If the taste isn't right, you're not going to have repeat purchase. That's the basis.
But definitely, all in all, I think it is a terrific show. It really been seen some interesting things.
It's buzzing, isn't it? It's very busy.
Yeah, just going to say, you mentioned natural. And one of the phrases that I shall take from this is natural ingredients has moved from nice to have to must have. So that's a trend for the future.